Donald Trump is finally getting the karma he deserves. You take a look right now at the electoral map in Texas. Donald Trump's approval, net negative 17.2%. You look at his approval in Michigan, net negative 15.8%. You take a look at his approval in Florida, net negative 7.5%. Look at the early voting data right now in Texas with the primaries there. Democrats have a nearly 50,000 vote advantage in votes cast in the Democratic primary than the Republican primary. We are seeing presidential level Democrat turnout in 2026. Jack Posobiec, a MAGA influencer, is terrified and sees the blue wave building. I mean, you take a look at North Carolina right there in the Senate seat. You've got former Democratic Governor Cooper, 50% beating MAGA Republican candidate Whatley, 50 to 40% right there. By the way, you just look at polls like this, the latest YouGov poll. Who do you think did a better job as the president? Former President Obama or Donald Trump? Obama up 55 to 37%. You take a look at the Real Clear Politics average of Donald Trump's approval from all polls. It's at its lowest ever. When you aggregate all of the polls, including the far right extremist polls, you know, you're still talking about Trump's approval only at 42%. His disapproval is at 55.5%. Quite literally the most detested, loathed, hated president at this point in the presidency of anybody at this time. By the way, don't even take my word for it. Let's listen to what some right-wing podcasters are saying about it. You have this libertarian Dave Smith, who was a Trumper in 2024. He did this whole YouTube video, I'm voting for Trump. Well, here's what he's now saying about Donald Trump on his latest show. Play this clip.
Donald Trump's approval ratings have been crashing, and it's largely a reflection of his failure as president. I mean, I just think that's kind of obvious.
Or how about Joe Rogan? Here's what he's saying.
It's overwhelming me. Like sometimes at nighttime, like I can't wind down.
Yeah.
It's just like there's too much news. There's too much fucking madness. We're about to go to war with Iran.
I know.
Like everyone's eating beef jerky and pizza. Like what are these what the fuck is pizza?
I know.
You know, how far does this go? How come this never got released before? Like what is happening?
Folks, here's what Benny frickin' Johnson. You don't get more MAGA sycophant, MAGA delulu, MAGA weirdo than freaking Benny Johnson. Here's what Benny Johnson said on the Sean Spicer show in the past 48 hours. Here, play this clip.
Everyone's attacking Trump over this. I think some of that attacks is like totally justified. I will never defend like the way that the files release was handled. I think it's been, I think everyone agrees that it has to be handled better, should have been handled better. This should have been the transparency moment, and it wasn't. And it was unnecessary political damage that was done.
And then we heard from Tim Dillon. Tim Dillon, a right-wing podcaster. He goes, we're not doing great. Our country is doing bad. Here, play this clip.
The country's not doing great. I know that in some areas it feels like it's doing great, but it's not doing great. Like we're in $40 trillion worth of debt. That's number one, a big problem. We're on the verge of potentially a major war with Iran. That's not good.
And here's what he had to say about Kash Patel and Dan Bongino. So Patel did Bongino's podcast. Patel's he's the number one at the FBI. He was a right-wing podcaster before being the number one at the FBI. Bongino was a right-wing podcaster, then the deputy FBI director, and now he's back to being a podcaster. And so you had Patel go on Bongino's show, and they were both whining about how hard it was for them to help Donald Trump cover up the Epstein files. They literally did a show talking about how hard it was to work with Donald Trump on level 11 decisions of cover up. Here, play this clip.
Kash Patel and Dan Bongino have decided to have a podcast. They're doing a podcast because Dan Bongino left the FBI and is now doing a podcast again. And Kash Patel is back on his podcast. And here we go. Let's just let it speak for itself. I don't know if you can even set this up. Dan Bongino, Kash Patel, friends of the show, here describing how difficult it is to cover up a pedophile ring. Let's go.
Everything's a level 10 decision. Cash. A level 10 meaning there's a pardon the language, but a shitty decision and a shittier one. Because if there was a good decision to be made, someone else made it. And then when those decisions, that's every day. I know you know this because I would knock on your door and you'd be like, what now? And I'd be like, here we go again. Like something else will come up. But I just want to put into perspective for folks out there, when that decision can't even be made by me, it goes to you. When it doesn't go to you, it goes like to the president's desk. He's dealing with like level 11 decisions. And that's the thing in DC, is that's why the batting average isn't always going to be 1,000. There's no good call to be made or someone else would have made it. There's just really tough decisions where, there's a shit call and a shittier call. And listen, that's what we signed up for. That's how it rolls.
Look, yeah, these are difficult decisions, Dan. That's why you volunteered to jump back in. It wasn't just going to be, hey, we're going to do this job. It's going to be super easy. We're not going to have to make any hard decisions. And we're not going to have to combat a press corps that has largely been biased and full of inaccurate reporting. But we made those decisions collectively in the best interest of the nation. And if we hadn't, then none of this would be true. None of this would be possible. If President Trump had made the hard decisions to allow us and give us the resources that we need and to back the blue and law enforcement and to prioritize working with state and local authorities, then we wouldn't be able to do what we did. But you're right. We had a lot of hard decisions, and that comes with the territory of the job. But once you look outside of the cauldron of Washington, D.C., and this is one of the things that, I'm trying to remind myself of every day. Outside of here, there is a different America than the one that lives in the national capital region. And I try to remind myself every day when making those difficult decisions that you talked about that we make on a daily basis.
Stop it for a minute. What the fuck are these people talking about?
Now, one of the areas Donald Trump and MAGA Republicans are panicking about, where Democrats are poised to flip some seats, is Michigan. You zoom into Macomb and Oakland County there, where you have these MAGA Republican Congress members, most recently representing the 10th Congressional District, John James, MAGA Republican Congress member. He's actually running for governor, so the 10th Congressional District's an open seat. Lisa McClain got moved one district over, but she was representing the 10th Congressional District. I mean, she's a MAGA extremist. John James is someone who basically blessed Donald Trump's entire extremist and radical policy that's crushing the people of Michigan. So I want to bring in right now Christina Himes, who's running for that seat in the 10th Congressional District. It's an open seat now because the MAGA Congress members running for governor. Just a brief background on Christina. She was a sexual assault and child abuse prosecutor for 10 years. You were born in Macomb. You know the area very well. So let's just get into it right away. What I always found interesting about Macomb, about Oakland, and then seeing who represents those congressional districts is, the views and values and principles that I know about those areas, having traveled there, having worked there in connection with legal cases that I was on, and just knowing the people there. It always shocked me that you had these MAGA extremist Congress members representing these districts. And I always thought maybe Democrats are not talking to the working class people there, but you're poised to potentially flip this seat. The primaries in the Democratic race are not until August, but your race has a lot of momentum. So tell us first about your view that you can flip this seat. Then I want to talk about your background as well as a prosecutor of sex assault and child abuse, because obviously with the Epstein files, these MAGA extremists have been working for the Epstein class and trying to cover it all up.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I think that you hit the nail on the head. When it comes to Macomb County, we are a lot of, working families, and we are a community of folks that, really just want to provide a better life for our kids and for the next generation. And for a long time, I think that the Democrats that were running here kind of forgot about who they were representing. And it gave Donald Trump an opportunity to come in and his kind of MAGA